The boy named Lux is invincible. 5 years ago, he was deceived and used by his brother. With only his black armor, the drag ride, he destroyed countless drag rides of the old empire, causing a significant reduction in the number of mechs in the new empire. Male drag ride warriors also became rare. Despite this, he is still known as the Black Hero of the new empire. However, the rumored Black Hero accidentally fell into the women's bath while chasing a thief and landed on a girl who was bathing.
死ぬ前に何か言うことはないか。
可愛いですよ。エロいです。
The other girls screamed in fear. Lux was immediately arrested and shouted that it was a misunderstanding. At that moment, a blue-haired girl appeared and headed straight for his black mech sword, seemingly testing something. Then, another girl arrived, saying the principal wanted to see him. Unexpectedly, the principal turned out to be an old friend of his and knew that Lux was a prince of the old empire. He was invited to join the female drag ride knight academy. This enraged the princess of the new empire, Celestia, who had been seen naked by him. She insisted that to join the academy, he must first defeat her, or else continue to sit in jail. The principal reminded Celestia that Lux had never lost since childhood and was called the undefeated weakest. The princess scoffed at Lux, predicting that he would soon face his first defeat. Before the match, Lux learned from his sister Eri that rumors were spreading around the school that he could flip skirts just by breathing. His opponent, Princess Celestia, had never been defeated at school. On the day of the final battle, both competitors drew their mech swords. Unexpectedly, the princess summoned a very rare, ancient, godly drag ride, which was several times stronger than Lux's ordinary flying drag ride. The audience believed Lux was sure to lose. The princess fired the first shots, but Lux dodged them all. Realizing Lux's strength, the princess decisively unleashed her powerful move, which Lux blocked with his swordsmanship. Enraged, the princess used her ultimate skill, but Lux narrowly avoided it. Lux thought the princess was trying to kill him, and rightly so, as she upgraded her drag ride, using its passive ability to immobilize him. However, due to excessive use, her drag ride began to malfunction. At that moment, the arena's barrier suddenly disappeared, and an abyss creature appeared on the outskirts of the arena, causing a commotion. It was unclear how a monster from the ruins appeared there, but it attacked the princess. Fortunately, Lux rushed forward to shield her from the damage. He proposed that they cooperate. He would distract the monster while the princess would look for an opportunity to snipe from a distance. Given the circumstances, the princess reluctantly agreed. Ultimately, their coordinated effort successfully took down the abyss, but Lux was severely injured in the melee. To repay him for saving her life, the princess took on the responsibility of caring for him and trusted him enough to share her secret. She had wanted Lux imprisoned because she thought he had seen the old empire's slave mark on her. After learning the truth, Lux vowed to keep her secret. Lux never imagined that one moment he was in jail, and the next, he was sitting in a classroom with his childhood friend, now hailed as a superhero by the girls. Princess Celestia even wanted him as her personal servant. Philuffy declined this unreasonable demand on Lux's behalf. As Lux felt conflicted, Philuffy was swayed by Celestia's donuts. Meanwhile, Cifer, claiming the principal needed to see Lux, helped him escape the crowd. The next day, Lux woke up to find himself touching something soft. It turned out the principal had arranged for him and Philuffy to share a room to bring them closer. His sister arrived and warned him to keep proper boundaries. That night, Lux had no choice but to sleep on the sofa and endured a night of nightmares. Outside of his dreams, a large abyss monster was spotted in the ruins to the southwest. The academy quickly mobilized its members, including Princess Celestia, to support the Imperial Guard in dealing with the creature. A large group set off for the mission. Celestia eyed the slime-like monster in front of her and signaled everyone to attack. Suddenly, a strange flute sound rang out, and the next second, the slime exploded, spawning thousands of gargoyles. It was all a plot by the captain of the Imperial Guard, Barth, a former leader of the old empire's knights. His goal was to destroy the new kingdom and restore the old empire. As the flute sounded again, the gargoyles swarmed the students. Even with her godlike drag ride, Lisa Shart couldn't overcome the sheer number of enemies. After just a few minutes of combat, her teammates began to retreat, leaving only Lisa Shart. Her goal was to seize the flute from Barth. Barth anticipated her move, blew the flute, and retreated. When Lisa Shart was hit by a gargoyle, Barth quickly attacked her. Severely injured, Lisa Shart was vulnerable as Barth tore her clothes and mocked her. He was the man who had branded her as a slave. Terrified, Lisa Shart was forced to relive her humiliating memories. 5 years ago, she was captured by the old Empire to coerce her father into joining a coup. However, her father abandoned her for his grand ambitions. Deemed worthless, she was treated like trash and subjected to daily torment by her enemies. Even as she became a princess of the new kingdom, her humiliating past remained indelible. Her haughty demeanor was merely a facade to mask her deep-seated inferiority. Now, Barth easily shattered all her defenses. Upon learning about the frontline situation from the messenger, Lux immediately expressed his desire to go for a rescue. However, his sister was worried about his safety and did not agree with his decision. Lux reassured her that he would return safely. Meanwhile, a wave of Imperial rebels arrived on the battlefield, mercilessly mocking Lisa Shart. The princess, unwilling to be humiliated, stabbed Barth's face. Enraged, Barth attempted to kill her with a single strike, but at the last moment, Lux blocked the fatal blow, sacrificing his mechanical arm in the process. As thunder roared overhead, Cifer, who had been investigating the identity of the Black Hero, suddenly realized the truth. Barth, in disbelief, faced the drag ride Bahamut, known for destroying the Old Empire, and recognized Lux as the 7th prince of the Old Empire. Accusing Lux of being a traitor, Barth was furious that a survivor of the Old Empire was aiding the new kingdom. Lux, unable to refute, used reload on fire. Although Bahamut had not been activated for 5 years, it was still invincible. The fireworks it created were a spectacular sight. Lux, now famous once again, captured the hearts of all the female students at the academy who organized a grand entrance ceremony for him. The celebration went smoothly until the principal decided to spice things up with a program. He announced that anyone who could seize Lux's commission paper within an hour could monopolize him for a week. As soon as the words were spoken, the girls excitedly chased after Lux, who took the commission paper and ran. Just when he thought he was safe, Philuffy suddenly appeared, startling him. She explained that her sister would give her cake if she got the commission paper. Realizing the principal was again trying to set them up, Philuffy used a grappling move to control him for the cake. However, Lux quickly grabbed the commission paper from the ground and fled, ending up in a dark room, only to find it was the girls' changing room.
What the?
A man lifted Cifer's chin, examining her closely as if assessing a perfect piece of art. His name was Balzeride, a member of the 4 great nobles of the new empire, and Cifer's betrothed, whom she had never met. Cifer had come to study in the new kingdom to find a suitable partner to present to her family. With the deadline to meet her parents approaching, she would have to accept her family's arrangement if no suitable candidate was found. Hence, Cifer asked Lux to pretend to be her boyfriend. Their first sweet date began that day, filled with laughter and the intimacy of a couple. Just as their date was getting better, enemies suddenly appeared overhead, targeting Cifer. They were soon surrounded by a mysterious organization and faced 3 mechs. However, Cifer remained calm and asked Lux to buy her time to summon her drag ride. This was an easy task for Lux, who quickly dealt with the ground enemies. Meanwhile, Cifer successfully summoned her drag ride and preempted the enemy's moves using its special foresight ability, then defeated them sequentially. Lisa Shart and Philuffy, who had been following them, no longer hid. As the last enemy fled, Lux chased after him, but a woman took the enemy down. This woman turned out to be Cifer's housekeeper, sent to confirm if her mistress had a boyfriend and to report back to the family. This led to the current situation. Cifer took the opportunity to introduce Lux to the housekeeper. Just then, a blonde man appeared behind her. It was then Cifer learned that her family had chosen a fiancé for her without her knowledge. Faced with Balzeride's enthusiasm, Cifer remained cold and declared that Lux was now her boyfriend. Balzeride smirked and challenged Lux, wanting to prove himself. Cifer, eager to end the hassle, agreed to a duel in a 2 versus 2 format. She and Lux versus Balzeride and the housekeeper, set for 3 days later. Unintentionally discovering that Lux and Cifer were only pretending to be a couple, Lisa Shart dressed up as a maid with Philuffy and others to cheer for Lux.
多少いやらしいことをしてもいいぞ。
しないですよ。
Elsewhere, Ragnarok, sealed within relics, was awakening from a state of petrification. Both the kingdom and the academy held crucial meetings. The principal handed Lux a flute, believed to be the key to the relics, and they planned to form a team to investigate the relics. Before departing, a teacher announced that there would be a special participant in this mission, Cifer's fiancé. Tonight, as Cifer's boyfriend, Lux was to duel with Balzeride, but he had no time to prepare as he was tasked with investigating the relics. Balzeride also joined the expedition as an assistant. As they neared the relics, the usually calm Cifer unexpectedly rushed ahead. As the others tried to follow, the radar detected an approaching enemy. A Diabolos, which hadn't brushed its teeth in centuries, appeared, moving so swiftly that the team barely had time to react. Fortunately, Lux stepped forward to block the attack. Despite the creature's strength, Lux managed only to hold it off. Lisa Shart took this chance to power up and shoot at Diabolos. When it separated from Lux, the team unleashed their full firepower, but Diabolos dodged all attacks and even took a member hostage. As they struggled against Diabolos, Cifer used her foresight to predict its movements and landed a successful hit. Balzeride then fired a powerful shot at Diabolos, positioned himself behind Lux, and proposed a challenge to see who could defeat Diabolos first. If Lux won, tonight's duel would be cancelled. Cifer told Balzeride to stop causing trouble, asserting she could handle it alone. However, during a new round of fighting, Cifer's foresight failed. Fortunately, Lux rescued her in time. At that moment, Balzeride summoned a long axe and threw it, striking the fast-moving Diabolos, shocking many team members. Before Diabolos died, it triggered a massive explosion that also illuminated the relics with a blue light, dragging everyone inside. When Lux woke up, he found himself inside the relics. Cifer, who had awakened earlier, suggested they head to the central altar to meet up with the others. However, after only a few steps, Cifer, weakened, collapsed to the ground. Lux had no choice but to support her as they made their way to the altar. Upon reaching the altar, Cifer eagerly moved to its center. Just as Lux was about to use the flute to check, the altar reacted spontaneously. Lux had never imagined that Cifer was the key to the relics. After the relics were activated, they began to collapse. Lux and Cifer took refuge deeper inside, ending up trapped in a space filled with high-tech boxes and debris. Cifer then voluntarily shared her background. As an infant, she was carried away by her father from a similar box, with the intent to use her to unlock the mysteries of the relics. Throughout her life, whether it was her parents or siblings, they were all very cold towards her. Initially, she thought it was because she wasn't good enough, so she studied hard, always striving to be the best. But all she got in return was a remark that she wasn't the same species as them. Cifer quickly deduced that she was not a modern human, but a survivor of the relics. Although she was reluctant to accept this fact, all her suspicions had now been confirmed. Being an outsider, she neither received her family's acceptance nor knew where her kin were, leaving her enveloped in unprecedented confusion. Lux stepped forward and took Cifer's hand, sharing his own tragic childhood to comfort her. As a child, his family was ostracized by the royal family because of his grandfather's disfavor, which even led to his mother's death. Facing his family's cold-blooded indifference, his heart filled with resentment and darkness, it was Philuffy, the only one who offered him warmth, who redeemed him. At that moment, Lisa Shart rescued them. It was now time for the duel agreed upon with Balzeride. Cifer had airy-tricked Lux into drinking a herbal tea that induced sleep, deciding to face Balzeride alone tonight. When Balzeride saw only Cifer had come, he scornfully told her to brace herself. He then summoned his drag ride and absorbed power from the butler. The two drag rides clashed fiercely. Balzeride ruthlessly fired multiple shots at Cifer, who dodged all using her foresight and charged at him. Seizing the opportunity, Balzaride grabbed her wrist. Disgusted by his touch, Cifer fired wildly at him, but unexpectedly, her foresight failed again. Cifer was defeated and reverted from her drag ride form. She suddenly realized that Balzaride's ability was to steal others' skills, and the butler was unconscious because his powers had been absorbed. Unexpectedly, Balzaride had known from the start that she was the key to the relics. He mocked Cifer as a mere tool, saying no one in the world would come to save her. Suddenly, a legendary black hero arrived, interrupting his taunts with a sword to save Cifer. The girl impulsively kissed the boy, startling the princess who was secretly watching them from outside the window. The girl asked the boy how it felt, and before he could answer, she kissed him again, leaving him dazed. The princess, watching this, cracked the window glass in shock. Cifer was so forward because when Balzaride hurt her, Lux stepped in to protect her. Balzaride thought it foolish for the black hero, who had always concealed his identity, to reveal himself for a woman. Lux disagreed, considering Cifer special. He then activated his ultimate skill, Reload on Fire, which was predictably countered by the opponent. Indeed, Balzaride's drag ride absorbed the energy of any drag ride and skill it touched. Balzaride scoffed, asking what it mattered if Lux had seen through his drag ride's ability. He feigned an attack and grabbed Lux's wrist, soon using Lux's own ultimate skill against him. Even Lux struggled to withstand it. And Balzaride was smug. Seeing this, Cifer felt it wasn't worth it for Lux to go so far for her, an outsider. However, Lux's sister comforted her telepathically, urging Cifer to keep watching and enjoy the duel fought for her. During the fight, Balzaride told Lux he was using Cifer only to unearth new weapons and skills from the relics sooner, arguing that sacrificing one woman to protect the nation was a good deal. He asked if Lux wanted to repeat history and destroy another nation, demeaning women in his remarks. Lux's drag ride started to lose control. Seeing this, Cifer resigned herself to fate, telling Lux to give up on her as she was just a tool. Lux disdainfully declared, "But you are my lover, and I will definitely save you. Let me continue to fight for you." Balzaride thought Lux was delusional, but Lux was about to show him what it means to exceed limits. Originally, Lux had deliberately let his drag ride lose control. His goal was to store up power and release it all at once later. Lux's real ultimate move was to exceed limits, a technique he had devised himself. Rather than saying this battle was fought for Cifer, it was more a redemption for her, making her realize she was not alone in this world. Today marked the butler's farewell. Lux and Cifer, breaking from their usual attire, dressed up for the occasion. At the dinner table, the butler praised Lux for his bravery and wisdom, suggesting that the head of the family would see him as an excellent marriage prospect. He left quickly after making his remarks. Lux wanted to clarify that he was not a marriage candidate, but the butler did not give him the chance to speak, leaving Lux quite helpless. How had pretending to be a boyfriend escalated to marriage? Seeing Lux so shy, Cifer couldn't help but kiss him, causing a heart-fluttering scene that infuriated the princess. Celestia, the strongest student at the academy, will soon return from studying abroad in the capital. This puts immense pressure on Lux, the only male student, as Celestia is famously male-averse. Unbeknownst to Lux, the girls have already devised a plan for him. Two girls grab him while another presents a gift for Lux. Under the cover of night, Lux, dressed as a woman, walks down the street. His stunning appearance catches the eyes of fellow students, who praise his beauty. Embarrassed, Lux blushes and hurries away from the scene. Unexpectedly, he runs into the academy's director, who warns him about a pervert recently sighted on campus and advises him to quickly return to the girls' dorm. Lux agrees promptly. The director then scrutinizes him closely, making Lux nervous. However, the director, finding Lux's face unfamiliar, asks if he is a new transfer student. Receiving an affirmative response, the director softens his tone and advises him to stay safe. After the director leaves, Lux trembles with embarrassment, puzzled why no one recognizes him. After patrolling the campus, Lux sat on a bench to rest. His primary task in drag was to identify a pervert on campus. Suddenly, he heard a strange noise followed by a woman's voice. Curious, Lux approached and was shocked to see a girl talking to a cat. At that moment, a figure silently appeared behind him. The stranger drew a dagger as Lux turned around. Hearing a scream, the girl in the bushes jumped out to rescue Lux, demanding the assailant in black surrender. The assailant threw a smoke bomb and attempted to escape with a thrown knife. Lux shielded the girl but got slashed on his arm. Seeing Lux in pain, the girl took him to the infirmary. She urged him to take off his clothes to treat the wound. Lux hesitated, worried his disguise would be revealed. Pressed by the girl, Lux awkwardly suggested treating his wound with his back turned. She quickly tended to his injury and noticed his muscular arm, asking if he was skilled with a sword. Lux hesitated, changing the subject by asking why she was talking to a cat. Embarrassed, the girl demanded Lux forget the awkward scene. Lux assured her he had no intention of spreading the story. Blushing, Celestia called him a charming kid. As they parted, they exchanged names. Lux made up a name, while the girl introduced herself as Celestia, hoping Lux would visit her for a chat. Upon hearing the name, Lux realized the girl was Celestia, known for her dislike of men. He dared not approach her casually for a chat. The princess sitting next to him asked if he was tired, to which Lux replied that he was a bit tired from patrolling last night. Then, Cifer popped up, inviting Lux to go shopping. Caught between the two girls, Lux felt uneasy. In the dead of night, an unexpected visitor arrived in the Academy's dungeon. Balzaride was thrilled, thinking an ally had come to rescue him. But to his surprise, the visitor came to kill him. At dawn, Lux was urgently summoned to the principal's office. It turned out that Celestia, having learned of his presence, wanted him expelled from the academy. This move shocked the entire school, but Lux resolved to stay and help fight Ragnarok. The principal suggested that if no agreement could be reached, they should duel. In 3 days, the knights would undergo intensive training on Celestia Island, where they could settle the matter through a duel of strength. The winner would have the deciding power. This was a fair proposal, and Celestia had to accept it as she was confident of winning the duel. Lux watched Celestia's departing figure, recalling how they had fought side by side against the man in black just the night before, and now they were enemies. As soon as Celestia returned to her room, there was a knock at the door. It was Sanya, who had always been hostile towards Lux. She thanked Celestia outside the door for insisting on expelling Lux for the sake of Academy rules. Celestia assured her that they were on the same side, but what she did not share with Sanya was that her actions were intended to protect him and the safety of the Academy, thereby making amends for her past mistakes. As soon as everyone arrived on the island and disembarked, Celestia called for immediate training, which made everyone complain. Lux, looking at a distant house, felt a sense of familiarity. Soon, everyone began the first day of training. Celestia was critical throughout, and the session lasted until evening. Everyone was too tired to move, except for Celestia, who was still taking care of things on the beach. She was a serious and strong leader, respected by all. However, she seemed to be hiding some concerns. At that moment, Sanya approached Lux, but he was shocked to find out that Sanya wanted him to help massage Celestia, who was undressed. Unsure of what to do, Lux hesitantly started the massage under Celestia's urging. After the massage, when Celestia asked him to turn on the light, Lux, in a panic, dressed in women's clothing to avoid being recognized. Celestia was delighted to see that her masseuse was actually a female student. Lux, fearful of being exposed, made an excuse to leave. Celestia, feeling disappointed, tried to make plans to go shopping with her the next day. Lux, unable to refuse, agreed. Just as he was about to leave, he encountered Sanya, who had been waiting outside but did not recognize him. She defensively asked about his identity. Fortunately, Cifer appeared in time to help Lux out of the situation. Sanya sarcastically remarked that the usually aloof Cifer was meddling too much. Cifer retorted that she was the one lurking around suspiciously, possibly up to no good. Exposed, Sanya had to leave. Lux asked Cifer if he recognized him, to which Cifer replied matter-of-factly, "You are the most important person to me. How could I mistake you?" He then warned Lux to be cautious of Sanya, feeling she was plotting something in the shadows. The next day at noon, Lux arrived as promised. Celestia took his hand, excited for their upcoming date. They headed to a bustling street. To Lux's surprise, the first stop Celestia made was at a swimwear store. After changing, Celestia asked if he wanted to try on a swimsuit, which scared Lux into running away. Eventually, they ended up on a grassy field eating desserts. Lux noticed Celestia, visibly tired but still pushing herself, and told her it was okay to relax during breaks. However, Celestia replied that as the leader of the Knights, she must never lower her guard. She even advised Lux that a true strong person is someone who can endure solitude. Suddenly, Celestia expressed her confusion about why everyone thought she hated men.
本当は男嫌いなどではないのです。
The sister glanced at others and then at herself, her facial expression a mix of emotions. When Lux looked at her, she mistakenly covered her chest and accused her brother of being awful. Lux innocently pointed out that he hadn't said anything. At that time, everyone was on a small island doing water training, the scene full of youthful harmony. Just then, Celestia arrived to ensure the area was safe. Unexpectedly, Lux bumped into Celestia. She glared at him fiercely, warning him to just wait and see in the competition, promising no mercy. After speaking angrily, she turned and left. The next day, the competition proceeded as scheduled. The outcome would determine if Lux could remain at the academy. At the director's command, Celestia began summoning her drag ride.
学園最強と呼ばれる彼女の真相を切る
To avoid revealing his identity in front of everyone, Lux summoned his usual, ordinary drag ride. The fierce battle between them was about to begin. Meanwhile, a meticulously planned conspiracy was unfolding. Two girls stopped a man in black, having found evidence that he was a spy from a neighboring country and had uncovered his true identity. Sanya removed all her disguises and began summoning her own drag ride. While Lux and Celestia were still locked in fierce combat. As a strange sound echoed, countless tentacles burst from the ground, encircling Celestia. Lisa Shart urgently ordered her team to evacuate the island's residents, while Lux rushed to rescue Celestia. The creature they faced, resembling an octopus, was the resurrected Ragnarok. Celestia, believing that Ragnarok had been hiding there all along, felt she had failed in her duties as the leader of the Knights. Ignoring Lux's pleas, she charged forward alone. She dodged attacks using her skills and approached Ragnarok, unleashing a powerful move targeting its weak spot. At that moment, Sanya appeared and mocked Celestia, making her realize she had been betrayed. A familiar whistle sounded, and Lux noticed a figure resembling his brother below, controlling Ragnarok with the sound of a whistle. As Ragnarok surged again, Sanya charged at Celestia. Lux blocked the attack for Celestia. Sanya then tried to sow discord by telling Lux his grandfather was killed by Celestia. This was the secret Celestia had struggled to let go of. Seizing the opportunity, Sanya launched a deadly attack. When Celestia awoke from her unconscious state, her first action was to apologize to Lux. She revealed that Lux's grandfather had been her teacher. As a child, after learning about the corruption in the old Empire, she informed her upright teacher, who then spoke out against the Empire and was imprisoned and later died. Lux's family was also implicated and expelled from the palace. Celestia feared Lux would hate her after learning the truth, but Lux revealed that he already knew because the junior he had confided in during their date was actually him in disguise. After revealing this, Lux summoned his mechanical dragon Bahamut. He comforted Celestia, telling her not to blame herself. He respected his grandfather, who chose to stand against corruption, and vowed to continue protecting the just, as his grandfather did. Lux first swiftly eliminated Sanya with a single strike, then activated Reload on Fire to break through the encirclement. He unleashed his original technique, End Action, to sever all the tentacles. Finally, he merged with his sword to pierce through Ragnarok, ending the battle. While the man in black distracted Lux, Sanya stole Ragnarok's core. The man in black then removed his hat to reveal his true identity. He was not Lux's brother, but rather Hayes, a noble from a neighboring country. He reminded Lux to recall the nightmare that occurred on this island 5 years ago before leaving. A larger conspiracy awaits Lux. Before anyone could rest, the ruins hidden on the island began to surface. It turned out that searching for the ruins was the principal's true purpose for organizing this training. Before entering the ruins, the princess modified Lux's Bahamut to fully prepare for the upcoming tasks. The next morning, the team assembled. Due to the vast interior of the ruins, the principal and Philuffy, who was feeling unwell, also decided to join the expedition. Once inside, the detection system found no anomalies. To speed up the investigation, everyone split up. Lux and his sister headed to the 6th underground level, where they soon detected an anomaly. Following the directions, Lux lifted a stone, and surprisingly, found a little girl underneath. When Cifer arrived, she dismissed Aerie and the others, then gently touched the girl's face, who immediately came to life. The girl turned out to be the ruins simulation AI, but unfortunately, she had lost her memory and couldn't recall past events. The system automatically designated Cifer as her caretaker. She informed Cifer that issuing a repair command in the control room on the lowest level would restart the ruins. The team regrouped, but Philuffy's condition worsened severely. Lux decided to carry her as they continued. They soon discovered the production room of the Abyss, with containers glowing blue, filled with Abyss embryos. Suddenly, Philuffy cried out in pain, sensing something approaching. In an instant, a shadow struck Lux at high speed, knocking him down and biting off one of his mechanical arms. After achieving its goal, Diabolos turned and left, which puzzled Lux. Meanwhile, teammates from another group reported that 2 Diabolos were roaming inside the ruins, and another had flown out to attack the island's residents. Lux suggested to the principal that they halt the investigation to protect the residents, but the principal refused, leading to a heated argument between them. Philuffy, feeling unwell, decided not to sit idly by. She wanted to help protect the people. Lux followed closely, activating Bahamut to catch up. Led by Philuffy, they quickly reached the teleportation portal and returned outside. As Lux searched for Philuffy, a Diabolos ambushed him. Fortunately, Philuffy reacted in time to subdue it. Lux looked towards the house near Philuffy, and memories of the island began flashing in his mind. Seeing Philuffy knocked down by the Diabolos, he killed it in a rage. He then removed his gear to look for Philuffy. After entering a bloody basement, Lux's long-sealed memories were gradually revived. This place was used by the old Empire for human experiments to develop new technologies. 5 years ago, he had also come here looking for Philuffy. When he looked up, he saw Philuffy crouched in a dark corner, feverish and mumbling that the Abyss was nearby. The next second, she grabbed Lux's neck. To control Philuffy, Hayes brought the mother monster of the Abyss seed inside Philuffy. Defeating it would save Philuffy. Philuffy didn't want everyone to risk their lives for her, but Lux begged her to stay with him, promising to save her this time. To rescue Philuffy, everyone re-entered the ruins and reached the control room on the lowest level. They puzzled over what the key to the door was when Cifer stepped forward. As soon as she touched the door, it vanished, raising suspicions about her identity. However, Cifer had already prepared an excuse. Inside the control room, the ruin's simulation AI regained its memory and recalled an order to eliminate everyone present. Then, Hayes, the true master of the AI, appeared with a figure in black by her side. It was Philuffy. Hayes ordered Philuffy to kill Lux and the others. The group had no choice but to summon their drag rides to fight. Meanwhile, the ruin's AI summoned drones to restrain Lux. Celestia tried to rescue Philuffy but was knocked down by her. The princess activated a skill to subdue Philuffy, but Philuffy easily neutralized it. Eventually, Philuffy used a steel cable to bind the princess and fling her towards Cifer, damaging both their drag rides. The principal reminded them that Philuffy's drag ride made skills ineffective. Meanwhile, Hayes seized the opportunity to advance her grand plan. Lux's brother suddenly appeared behind her. Hayes asked if he came to witness his brother's end, but a distant flute sound answered her. Hayes tried to regain control, but it was too late. The awakened Philuffy knocked the flute from her hands, allowing Aerie to use another flute to override her commands. The battle situation was reversed momentarily. Hayes had no choice but to summon her ultimate weapon, Ragnarok, which was also the mother of the Abyss seed inside Philuffy. Believing that defeating it could save Philuffy, the princess and others launched a furious assault on it. Just when the princess thought Ragnarok had been dealt with, Cifer sensed something was wrong. The next second, she was entangled by swiftly approaching vines. It turned out that Ragnarok not only had rapid regenerative capabilities, but also absorbed the damage it received to strengthen itself. To handle the more powerful Ragnarok, Lux asked the princess to let him use Bahamut's limit break. The princess was reluctant because Lux had already expended much energy, and using this feature could be fatal. But with the situation critical, Lux could not consider the risks. He used all his skills to hold off Ragnarok. After exhausting all his special moves, the opponent absorbed all the energy and became incredibly powerful. Seeing Lux firmly bound by Ragnarok, Hayes couldn't help but mock him. At that moment, Lux finally received the princess's command. The ruins once again fell into slumber. Lux was honorably admitted to the hospital for treatment. Philuffy took care of him attentively every day and often confessed her feelings to him. Tomorrow is the grand festival of the new kingdom. Lisa Shart wanted to use this opportunity to date Lux, but Cifer, who was quite straightforward, cut in unexpectedly due to their pretend relationship. At this moment, Celestia also stepped forward, wanting to date Lux to strengthen their friendship. Seeing this, Philuffy also joined in, leaving Lux helpless. The princess was frustrated by these events. This was the first time Celestia dressed up formally, and a shy Lux could hardly look at her directly. Celestia mentioned it was her first time attending a large festival and hoped there were no issues with her attire. Lux reassured her through his actions, but unfortunately, the date was nearing its end. Celestia, mistaking wine for water, nearly got drunk. Feeling tipsy, she admitted that she saw Lux as a role model in her drag ride studies. She vowed to strive to become the drag ride warrior Lux admired. The like-minded pair planned to shake hands to encourage each other, but a drunken Celestia stumbled and fell. Lux, pulled down with her, was concerned about whether she was hurt. Embarrassed, Celestia asked him to get up first. Realizing the situation, Lux felt even more awkward, especially as their classmates witnessed the scene. Later, Lux changed into formal attire to attend a noble banquet. Cifer, also dressed up, invited him to dance. After the dance, Cifer mentioned that her butler was secretly watching them from a corner. To make their pretend relationship appear more real, Cifer asked Lux to kiss her. The air was filled with a sweet scent of romance as their date came to an end. In the Twilight Alley, Philuffy, dressed as a demure young lady, patiently waited for Lux to arrive. When Lux saw her, he was stunned for a long while and bashfully complimented her on her beauty. Philuffy's attire had been personally selected by the principal, but Philuffy seemed unaware of her thoughtful intentions. After leading Lux into the church, she let him rest his head on her lap, which angered the observing principal from the shadows. Their day-long date ended as night fell, with Lux yawning all the way home. The waiting princess suddenly stopped him, shyly asking Lux if he could become her personal knight and expressing her feelings for him. Lux, feeling guilty as a former criminal of the old empire, intended to refuse, but the princess asked him to consider it and give her an answer on the last day of the festival. A dark-haired girl watched their every move from a distance, her expression indecipherable in the darkness. Boys must take care of themselves when outside. When people heard Lux scream, they thought he was in danger, but instead they stumbled upon an indescribable scene. During the day, a dark-haired girl approached Lux. He thought she meant harm and pointed a knife at her, but to his surprise, she called him Master upon their first meeting and revealed her identity and purpose. Her name was Yoruka, a mech dragon warrior from the old empire, and she told Lux that she came to help him destroy the new kingdom and restore the old empire. However, Lux had no such intentions. He verbally said he would consider it, but in reality, he planned to delay dealing with the matter until after the Mech Dragon Championship. Fortunately, Yoruka agreed to give him time to think. After she left, Lux breathed a sigh of relief. His sister reminded him not to take her lightly. That evening, Yoruka found him in the bathhouse, causing a misunderstanding with others due to her strange actions. Lux eventually cleared up the situation. After leaving the bathhouse, Yoruka insisted that Lux give her orders. Lux did not understand why she was so loyal to him. He had researched Yoruka's past and knew about a contract she had with her father. But now that the old empire was destroyed and her father was gone, Lux hoped she would break free from her past and not be bound to obey anyone. Yoruka, however, stated she did not want these things and questioned how long Lux planned to deceive the girls. With his abilities, she believed the restoration of the empire was inevitable and thought Lux's interactions with the girls were preparations for restoring the old empire. Lux denied her speculations and stated he had no plans to restore the old empire. The air suddenly filled with a sense of danger. Celestia, wary of Yoruka, appeared in front of Lux. She summoned her drag ride, ready to battle Yoruka. Yoruka, not one to back down, summoned her own drag ride. With her divine drag ride, Yoruka's strength was comparable to Lux's. Despite being surrounded, she remained calm. Philuffy tried to restrain Yoruka with steel cables, but Yoruka turned the tables and used this to control Philuffy's drag ride to attack her allies. The unsuspecting princess accused Philuffy as her drag ride also began to attack Celestia uncontrollably. Cifer was the first to realize that Yoruka could manipulate others' drag rides. Yoruka had no intention of a prolonged fight. She told Lux she would return if he agreed to the plan to restore the kingdom, promising to reveal a shocking secret then. Yoruka's mystery deepened Lux's sense of crisis. The drag ride championship proceeded as planned the next day. The principal watched her star students, giving them the utmost encouragement to boost their spirits. This battle was not for themselves, but for the new kingdom. Once the protective barrier on the battlefield was activated, the referee commenced the competition, and the fierce clashes between kingdoms intensified. Members from the new kingdom, known for their strength, successively claimed victories in the matches. Lux was up next, piloting a standard drag ride, ready to dominate the competition. Unexpectedly, his opponent proved to be a tough challenger. Under relentless attacks, Lux was gradually forced into retreat. Despite Lux winning the match, his sister, watching from the sidelines, looked worried. Lux did not rest after his victory, because he had to secretly undertake a significant task. His sister, aware of the truth, was visibly concerned. Lux, determined to risk it all, asked his sister to discreetly inform others if he did not return. Earlier, the new kingdom's prime minister had summoned Lux and his sister for a confidential meeting. According to intelligence, the leader of the old empire's remnants planned to attack the new kingdom after the grand festival. The ministers hoped Lux would serve as bait by going alone to a deserted village in the northwest to lure the numerous abyss hidden there into a trap prepared by the new kingdom. His sister was the first to object to letting him undertake such a perilous mission alone. However, the deal proposed by the prime minister made Lux willingly accept the task. The prime minister promised that if Lux won the drag ride championship and successfully lured out the abyss, the government would overlook the school's recent unauthorized exploration of ruins on the island. This condition was indeed tempting, and Lux found it hard to refuse. But facing hundreds of abyss alone, could he really return victorious? Meanwhile, what were the remnants of the old empire plotting? In the drag ride championship, the princess appeared as the ace player for the new kingdom's team. If she won one more match, her team would claim the individual championship title. They thought victory was certain, but during the match, her drag ride malfunctioned catastrophically. It did not only fail to deal damage, but also became immobile, emitting a strange green light and unexpectedly attacking the spectator stands. This involuntary action terrified the princess. Fortunately, Cifer quickly used a skill to freeze the malfunctioning drag ride. Although no one was injured in the incident, the princess was still imprisoned by the higher-ups. In this world, the only one known to hijack the control of others' mechas is Yoruka, known as the Blade of the Empire. After the incident involving the princess, Lux, a paragon of justice, was nowhere to be found. People started questioning Lux's sister about his whereabouts. Unable to keep the secret any longer, his sister had to reveal the truth. While on a mission, Lux suddenly heard a flute. As he landed at the source, he was attacked by people in a cave. Sonia, a traitor, mocked him verbally as usual, still resenting how Lux had hurt her on the island. She blew the flute to awaken the abyss hidden in the cave, and Lux realized he had fallen into Sonia's trap. Controlled by the flute, hundreds of abyss relentlessly pursued Lux. Lux led these abyss to the new kingdom's base, where the army, already in ambush, quickly eliminated them. The captain instructed Lux to rest in the camp for a moment to prepare for the upcoming battle with the remnants of the old empire. Lying in bed, Lux felt uneasy, and before he could figure out why, he heard intense fighting outside. Rushing out, he saw fires and heavy casualties among the New Kingdom's troops. The attackers were remnants of the old empire, led by Barth, whom Lux had previously defeated. Boasting about nearing kingship, Barth shared his news with Lux, who reminded him that he was just a pawn. Barth scoffed, willing to be a pawn if it meant becoming king and using his power for evil in the New Kingdom. Lux attacked Barth first, and they fought fiercely in the air. Suddenly, the ground shook. Lux looked towards the capital and saw a giant creature heading straight for it. This was the giant soldier from the 5th relic, capable of flattening a city with 1 foot and far stronger than Ragnarok. With the old empire's remnants on one side and a giant capable of destroying the New Kingdom on the other, Lux faced a dire situation. As the giant soldier advanced towards the capital, Lux immediately activated Bahamut to stop it. However, Barth clung to him, knowing that Bahamut could only be operated for 12 minutes. If he could delay Lux past this time, Lux would be finished. Amid Barth's arrogant laughter, Lux engaged in a fierce duel with him, but ultimately lost, his mechanical arm cut off by Barth. Was this the end of Lux's era? Meanwhile, the princess faced a dire situation. Sonia presented her with a daunting dilemma. Choose between your innocence and the fate of your nation. Without hesitation, the princess chose to save her nation, knowing that handing over control to these people would be like pushing her citizens into a pit of fire. Sonia mocked her overestimation of her own power and then ordered 2 soldiers to assault the princess. Just as the soldiers were about to touch her, a white light appeared on the wall, and her personal Black Knight arrived to save her. However, this was not a time for sentimentality. Outside the city walls, the giant soldier capable of instantly destroying the New Kingdom was rapidly approaching the capital at a speed of 100 meters per step. Meanwhile, the princess was still blaming herself for her actions during the drag ride championship. Lux comforted her, explaining that she had been framed by Hayes. The princess understood the circumstances but loathed her own powerlessness at the time, which had made her a tool for harming the citizens and betraying their expectations. Lux handed her weapon back to her and encouraged her to be strong, as the New Kingdom still needed their protection. The story returns to the beginning. Lux's mechanical arm is sliced off by Barth, who thinks he has won. Upon closer inspection, he realizes it isn't a part of Bahamut. With this, Lux drops the act, draws a black armored sword, and summons the real Bahamut. Lux had the princess make a fake Bahamut after discovering its 12-minute operational limit. Fooled, an enraged Barth charges at Lux, only to be instantly defeated. At that moment, Lux's sister informs him that the princess has been imprisoned. He rushes to the dungeon to rescue her. Together, they confront the giant soldier and Hayes, hand in hand, planning to use their respective drag rides to suppress the giant soldier. Philuffy quickly uses steel ropes to bind the giant soldier's limbs, while Cifer uses her skills to freeze it. The plan succeeds, and the virtual AU controlling the giant issues an alert that it cannot move, needing 15 minutes to reset. Hayes, unfazed, summons her own drag ride to battle. Her powerful strike causes a landslide. After a brief confrontation with the princess, she starts looking for Lux. The princess attacks her to divert her attention, asserting that she alone is enough to handle her, sparking another round of battle. On the other side, Lux encounters Yoruka, who has been waiting for him at the entrance to the giant soldier. Their opposing ambitions lead to an inevitable battle. Their mecha swords clash fiercely, sparking in the air. Their different streams of light collide rapidly in the sky. Ultimately, Lux uses his ultimate move to defeat Yoruka, and also wins over her heart. As the 15 minutes pass, the giant soldier begins to recover. Hayes no longer delays and strikes a deadly blow at the princess, but Lux arrives just in time to save her. The giant opens its mouth and spits out an orb capable of instantly destroying the New Kingdom. Hayes laughs arrogantly. The countdown of the controlling virtual AI begins but suddenly stops. Yoruka has split the AI system with her sword. Realizing her betrayal, Hayes, in a frenzy, attacks the princess, knocking her out of her drag ride form. Lux appears behind Hayes and uses his ultimate move, Reload on Fire. defeating Hayes and swiftly rescuing the falling princess. After the epic battle, the new kingdom celebrates the final night of its founding festival. Princess Lisa, in a red evening gown, delivers a speech and announces Lux as her exclusive knight. Fireworks explode in the night sky and the crowd applauds. The legendary Black Knight takes the princess's hand, but their blissful married life is not to be. Cifer and Celestia suddenly appear, one affectionately calling Lux her fiancé, and the other shyly praising his prowess. Seeing so many women vying for her man, the princess is furious once again.